Welcome back to Leicester City Down Under. Sorry, guys, apologies. I have been absent for a month. I have been concentrating and focusing a lot on, for Fox's sake, Anil's channel. For those of you who watch, you know that he's been on this channel a lot. He's done a lot to help me out, and now I've just put a lot of concentration and focus into that channel. He deserves it. So please go over there and subscribe. But firstly, Diego, how are you, brother? Thank you for joining us.
I'm all right. How about you, Luke?
I'm not too bad just yet. It's not panic stations for me, but there is some things to be questioned here. But let's get into it, mate. First of all, guys, a loss, not an absolute belting, but we'll get into it. Just want to start off with this because I'm still perplexed by this, but I'm going to add this to the stage here. Right. Guys, the exact same starting 11. Pereira's still not in the team, which is beyond me. I cannot believe that. And I just want to talk to you. The main one I want to highlight here is Dakova Reed. I am also very perplexed why he is getting in above Mavididi. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't see what he offers. I know he had one decent shot outside the box, but other than that, I don't feel like he brings much. He can't really take his man on. You don't really see him dribble it past his man. Every time Mavididi's come on and off the bench, he's looked instantly more creative. I'll continue about that later, but what I wanted to talk to you about was on the bench here, we have got no Golding, and we also do not have, I've just completely drawn a blank here, Will Alves. Everyone thought they were going to be at least on the bench and integrated into the team. The transfer window is winding up soon. I really would like to see them get a loan move. Diego, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think we obviously need some reinforcements. I think it's clear. Yeah, Bobby wasn't enough. I agree with you on that one. I think that that Mavididi should be starting. I could maybe understand a little bit just because they were playing Fulham and he knows Fulham pretty well, obviously because he was there only a couple weeks ago. I could understand that, but then after a while, you could clearly notice that he wasn't ready for that. So I think that he should have probably made the sub earlier. And yeah, I don't know. I think the rest of the team. I mean, we have that in there, but I think that even the subs. I think keeping Ndidi in that game for the whole entire 90 minutes was just not a good idea. Obviously, he's not a 10 to makeshift him in that position for a part of the game was just not the right thing. He's clearly not a 10. And obviously, Ricardo not playing either. I think Ricardo obviously merits playing in this team. And for him not to play is just, I think, perplexing, just like you said.
It's very, very strange. And I want to get into what 11 I would like to see in a minute. Granted, I'm not manager, but still there are some things that I've really questioned. Again, also to mention on the bench, well, no Tom Cannon. You know he wasn't favoured now by almost two managers. We've got Ayu in, and we'll get into them coming on later, but no Cannon on the bench either. So that was also quite interesting to me. So I'm hoping he's going to get a move for his. Now, when we get into the game, I want to bring up this, and I am just going to close this. In my opinion, this is what I would like to see as a starting 11. And what I here we go here. Right. Now, I've used this every single preview I've done on Fox Stakes, but I am not convinced on Christensen on that left side yet. And I want to talk about that left side as well, because I feel like, you remember when we had Harvey Barnes, we had basically that was our only, side that we posed a threat off of. The right side, we never had a right winger to cover for Mahrez. Madison was forced to play out there under Rodgers when we did the 10. And now, after last season, I felt like a Mavididi for Tawi, we offered a lot of both sides of both wings. Now, I think Christian can push quite far up, and I just haven't seen him too much as of yet. And a few decent crosses in, but for me, Ricardo on the right plays in Vestergaard as your centre back, James Justin as your left. Now, Christensen is still decent cover, but I just felt like Traore absolutely rinsed Christensen on the weekend, and because JJ would have had a more decent matchup on him, and obviously Pereira could have been upgraded. Now, as a double pivot, the big talking point, Diego, I'll ask you first this after this. Indeed, we spent a lot of money on him, but in my opinion, at least we can resell him because I think he doesn't offer enough in terms of keeping possession of the ball. He gets targeted, and now Winks got targeted last game as well because everyone knows that he gets on the ball. So if you take Winks out of the equation, we can't deal with him anywhere. So Skip, we had fuck all possession in that game until, in my opinion, Skip came on, and he absolutely helped massively with keeping possession of the ball. As Cooper said, he's calm and collected on the ball. So was Winks. So having that alongside him, I think is excellent. Buonanotte, your boy, our 10. Not a bad game, but not as good as his last game. But again, he's 19. Fatawu and Mavididi on both sides of the wing, just like last season. And with what we've got available, Vardy up front.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that 11? And talk to me about Ndidi afterwards.
Yeah, I think that like you said, I think Christensen definitely struggled in that game against Adama. And I think it just proves, at least to me, and I think maybe other people would think as well, that I think we probably do need someone that can cover in that position, who, in my opinion, could probably be a little bit more defensive. I understand that Christensen's always been more of a wingback type of player, and he could obviously get up there, but defensively he struggles. And I think that if he keeps playing in that way and we keep playing him as a fullback rather than a wingback as he's probably supposed to be played, he's going to struggle. And we're definitely going to probably get scored on in that side of the pitch, probably because of him. That's no offense to him, but that's what I saw. Other than that, I think, like you said, I think Skip looked good when he came on. Definitely different to what Ndidi gives, and like you said, much more collected, much more calm. He definitely looks more comfortable. Obviously he played with Winks before, so he kind of knows him a little bit. Obviously, getting used to playing again with him, but I definitely liked how when he came on and definitely changed it. Like you said, got more possession of the ball. Abdul, I think he played well for what he could do. I think he tried with what he had in his skill set. I think he struggled at the beginning of the game. I remember that, but he got himself back into the game, and I think we're gonna start seeing that at least in the first couple of games, where he still has to, I guess, get used to the rigors of the Premier League. And once he does that, I think we could see him just go into games normally and not struggle to get into those games. I think Faku, like you said, definitely struggled a bit in this match, but I could definitely understand why. I think this is a little bit more different than the Spurs game. I think just like Anil said in his pregame, I think he said that it was going to be much more, I think, battled out, and I definitely agree with that. I think that they knew what they had to do, especially after the Spurs game. They took the blueprint from that match, and I think they did it to perfection, which was to press us early, don't not give us space to work up, and I think that they did great on that. And I think other than that, I think I don't know. I don't think the team was bad. I think the only thing that I think other people might say is obviously that our center backs are a little bit slow. Vestergaard struggled, I think, after the first goal, and did make a couple mistakes. But I can understand. But you need that center back that obviously is quick enough to, I think, counteract that. Obviously, he's slow, but he gives us a lot of security dribbling the ball up the field. So, yeah. Other than that, I think that not obviously having Ricky in this game too, so we suffered. But was it a surprise that we lost this game? No, I think that we were optimistic to think that we were going to win this game. But at the end of the day, I think Fulham was there, and they played to their strengths, and obviously we lost. So what can we do?
I was optimistic as well, and you're spot on about Fulham, by the way, because I felt like Marco Silva's been brilliant as a manager. They built from the back. They did a decent job. They had a lot more possession than I actually expected, even though with that. And I'll bring on to my tactics under what I think about it later, and why that doesn't work. But in my opinion, great job from Fulham. They played really well. They were very cohesive, and we sustained a lot of we got pumped the first 10 minutes, quite similar to the Tottenham game. And I thought, considering he conceded 2 is not bad. I guess it's scraping the barrel a little bit because, like, I don't want to just keep seeing a sustained, barrage after barrage of threats. But considering where we've been in the past, defense not too bad. I do see what you're saying about the centre backs. Yes, Yannick does worry me with his pace, but I think that's really up to our fullbacks to be able to, cover for it. That's kind of how it worked last season, but we played more of a back three last season, didn't we? With Ricardo dropping into a back four out of possession. So I think another thing to add to that actually is Christensen playing so high up the pitch can really leave us undone as well, particularly in like transition as well once we lose the ball, which is happening quite a lot in my opinion. And we're seeing a lot of balls as well, actually, while we're on that topic. Like, we're not keeping the ball on the ground. How many balls have you seen go like, we can't retain possession like that? That's another reason that drives me wild as well. So, look, I think Skip can really help with that, but there's a lot of things in the Cooper that just don't make sense. But I just want to bring up the first goal. Just going to remove that. Now, I can't play a video because YouTube will copyright me, but I can just show a dodgy pause of my game here. Now, if you look here, I'm going to zoom in. This is right before Traore feeds the ball to Emil Smith-Rowe. Now, the last man back here you can see is JJ. What is JJ going to do? He cannot mark 2 people. Now, some people think that he's at fault here. Maybe he's afterwards. But in my opinion, the most obvious pass is, if we would look at first glance, like it's going to go to either Iwobi or Smith-Rowe. He has to make a decision on who to mark. He's not supersonic, so he can't get to Smith in time. He can cover Iwobi. And if you watch the goal, I urge you to watch the game back on replay or highlights or whatever. Go and watch it. And then the first thing he does is that before Smith even scores the goal, JJ's got his arms up. He's looking back like, who the fuck's covering him? Like, is Fatau at fault? Who knows? Football's subjective and about opinions. But in my opinion, JJ is not totally at fault here. He can't cover 2 people. That's my opinion. What would you say about the first goal, and how did you feel? Like, do you think it was only a matter of time? How did you feel?
Yeah, I think so. Just like you said, I think it was a matter of time. I think, like you were saying, I think Christensen obviously playing up higher did leave us vulnerable. And I think in that specific situation, Yannick pressed up higher and basically knew that he had gotten beat. And then Fies probably went in also, if I remember correctly, to try to get the ball too. We just pressed when we weren't supposed to. Everyone pressed at the same time. And then that just completely like left it all open. I understand what you're saying with JJ, that he obviously went and covered Iwobi instead. And 100%, I think that's a logical ideology in your head that you have, that if you obviously have that player right next to you, the man right next to you is the person you're going to cover. I don't even know if in that certain situation through peripheral vision, if he was going to see ESR coming on the other side. So I could understand why he would try to latch onto Iwobi in that situation. And at the same time, I understand why at the end he kind of just gave up on the play even before ESR shot the ball. I think obviously a lot of people probably gave him a little bit of stick for that, just because he gave up on the play even before ESR shot, and maybe he could have gotten a tackle on. But I think that obviously showed his frustration. He clearly saw that he was completely, I think, done for in that situation, and he was frustrated. I mean, there's not much else that you could say, but 100%, I think that goal was coming. I think just the way that Fulham played in that half, I thought that they were probably going to get that first goal, and they did. So I don't think it was that much of a surprise, to be honest.
Spot on, mate. Jeff, how are you, mate? Good morning, Luke and guest. Tuning a little late, but looking forward to this review. Fulham have bought well in this transfer window and are a tough test for any team. I agree. Of course, disappointed we didn't get anything from this game, but maybe we didn't deserve anything. I don't know. I think it's a little rough. Like, I think we're feeling pretty optimistic, like I was anyway, after the Tottenham game, because I thought we were going to get absolutely pumped badly. Like, I was not feeling positive about that game. And then we got an equalizer, and Vardy scores a goal, and then the whole momentum shifts. Now, We saw that happen a little bit after we scored the first game. We did well to hold on, but the second goal was even more frustrating than the first, in my opinion. Again, caught in transition, caught on a counter. We got caught in the counter. I'll get onto to round that up, I'll get to the subs. Now, talk to me what you think, Diego, about Ayew and what you thought about the signing, and how did you feel when he came on? He was the first sub for Bobby Reid.
I think in hindsight, obviously what we paid for Ayew probably was too much, and I think that's what everyone's gonna say. Do I think that it's a bad signing if it wasn't that much money? No, because I think he has good Premier League experience, and he definitely can give an alternative there, just as Bobby should. And I think those are players that should be coming in off the bench, not coming in and starting, in my opinion. So I think he came on. I mean, I think he played okay for what he could. I think everyone's gonna obviously remember the free kick and that he completely skied it. So that's what I think most people are gonna remind themselves of in that match. But I think he wasn't atrocious. I think that because he came on eventually, and Didi was able to latch on and play a little bit more deeper back where he was playing before, if I remember correctly, or maybe I'm not sure about that. But I think he wasn't horrible. I definitely what a player of that caliber, I think you probably want him to hit the ground running. And unfortunately, he didn't really do that in a sense, at least in terms of the in goal scoring department and helping, I think, generate play. But I think he obviously came in a game where I think you kind of knew that it was kind of over. When they first scored, I think I also thought that it was kind of just game over. I thought that they looked better than us, and I think you knew that once they scored, I think it'd be hard for us to come back, especially with how they had been playing, to be honest.
Yeah. I thought, I think I was watching the game with Neil. I think he said that as well, but I was like, oh, we've got 20 minutes. I'm not going to throw the towel in yet, but I know what you're saying, because they did have a lot of possession. And that leads me into the next thing we can talk about. So the next two subs, right, come on. So Ayew was already in at this point, playing off the left for Reid. Then the next two subs, Vardy out, Ayew pushes up top. So Mavididi was in for Vardy. He goes to the left, whereas where I think he should be playing. And Boyanotzi subbed out as our 10, and then Skip in. So massive shift up in how we were playing. Indeed, he gets moved further up the pitch in that 10 position, and then we've got Skip in as the double pivot alongside Winks, which immediately helped us a lot with possession, as I mentioned earlier. And Mavididi, again, left where he should be playing. Talk to me on those subs, because I think and to finish off what you were saying about Ayew earlier, was that I agree, he wins a lot of free kicks and decent option off the bench. I'm not overly overwhelmed with the signing, as a lot of these signings lately. Just saying, Okoli as well, stupid signing in my opinion, but hate to be negative. But Ayew, decent off the bench, a lot of Premier League experience. I feel like I'm scraping the barrel a bit, but talk to me what you think about Mavididi and Skip, particularly Skip, mate, because he's new to the side.
Yeah, I think Skip looked good. I think we even said that earlier. I think Skip came into the game, and he looked like I think honestly was kind of fit to the system. He knows Winks, and I think he looked good. I mean, I hope that Cooper decides to start him next match. I think that he should, in my opinion. And I think obviously I could understand the sub for taking out Facu. I think he was a little bit tired. What I have personally kept him in for 90. Yes, I think in my opinion, I know that he probably still could have given a lot more. And I think that just slotting in Didi to the 10, I think obviously made us weaker, in my opinion. He's clearly not a 10. And I think we've gone through this drill since the last season. I think that at the championship level, you're obviously able to afford maybe doing an experiment like that, in my opinion, especially with the coach as good as Enzo. But I think at the Premier League level, I can't see Ndidi playing as a 10. And clearly that's why we're probably looking to have someone that could come in and replace Facu when he's tired in those types of situations.
Well, that's a good point. Let's talk about Ndidi. I spot on agree with everything you just said. And we've got to remember we've spent 20 million on, I believe, on Skip. So he's probably one of our bigger signings. If you could actually include Indeed as a signing because we re-signed him because his contract ran out, and I think he was 30, so he's our highest paid. Either way, I'm not sure what the exact amount is, but he's our highest paid player, right? So now a lot of people don't like that, and I can understand why, but I would liked it a lot less if he was another one of the players to add to the long list of have walked for nothing, which is we can't keep doing that. So the very least, I hope that we can resell him, and that's what I want to talk to you about because we have to make a tough decision here. We cannot be stubborn for the sake of money anymore, okay? So Indeedy, in my opinion, is all over the place. I agree with what you said. If we had a better manager and it wasn't a 10, I think it was a high pressing 8 more system under Enzo, then yeah, indeed in the championship definitely did a job, wins the ball high up the pitch. But in my opinion, from building from the back with what little possession we're expected to have, we need to have as a double pivot, Winks, as I said before, and Skip. And indeed, it needs to be a bench and a rotation option. Now, a lot of people might not like that, and I understand why. But in my opinion, he's too patchy for me these days. He's not what he used to be. And he's been played in too many different positions. Like Rogers played him as a centre back. We got desperate. He's been a deep lying 6, high pressing 8, 10 in some roles under Cooper. He's had a lot of different things. Like he's not a utility player, in my opinion. And I don't normally like the idea of a utility player, jack of all trades, master of none. I get that there's a need for all of them in a team as squad depth, but let's not confuse the lad. Other sub, McAteer comes on and almost plays like a left wing back. Christensen comes out. Christensen was getting absolutely rinsed that game. He got a stupid booking. He was getting frustrated. I'm still not convinced on Christensen. Mate, let's move on to what to me what you think of Cooper's tactics. And we were talking a little bit off air, and I've been privately a big advocate of getting him gone now, but that probably sounds over the top and harsh because of how early it is, but I just don't see. Actually, let me ask you this: how long do you give Cooper before you get the pitchforks out and sack him?
Oof, that's a great question. I mean, if I'm gonna be completely realistic and not kind of like you, where I'd say maybe I just get rid of him right now just because I don't like him. I think it really all depends on results. Maybe it would probably be in October, depending on how things go. I think October would be the month if he were to get sacked. I think that would be the month he would get sacked. Yeah, I don't really like him at all. I think, and I'm gonna give him credit where credit's due. I think he's a great management manager, and that's something that I think a lot of people, including me, I like that about him. I think he gets a squad together, and he obviously puts them under his own philosophy. But I think the difference is in the Premier League, you have to have that man management part, and you also have to have the tactical part. And in order to be a world-class manager and to be able to, I think, coach at the Premier League level and succeed, you have to have both in a pretty balanced way. And I feel like the man management part is probably up here, and then I think the tactical side is probably down here. And I think that you can't have that. Even maybe if you would have a better tactical manager, maybe someone that doesn't handle people better would still do a better job. And that's just the truth. I think we're in 2024. Tactics matter the most now. I think we're not back in 2016 when we won the league, and I think that you need a management, and a manager that has good tactics and knows what he's doing in the tactical side of the game, rather than maybe just completely a man management thing and maybe just feel and just honestly just kind of just do a Enzo rebrand in a sense.
Yeah, that's a good point because, would you say that we lack an identity? Because people didn't like Enzo because they said he was stubborn and he only had a plan A, but he knew what he wanted. He knew what brand of football he wanted to play, and he was not deviating from that. Whereas of Cooper, I don't feel any of that right now. You could say the same thing about Marco Silva as well for Fulham. They play a lot of triangles, very similar style to how we played under Enzo. I feel like counter-attacking football, I don't know. I like possession-based football and playing it out from the back. A lot of people don't, but I like it. It's just me personally. Just want to pull up this comment here as well quickly because you raised a good point, Jeff. We shouldn't make up our minds about our new players or manager after just a couple of competitive games. We'll gain a better opinion after 10 games or so. I actually really agree with you, Jeff, and I am harsh and I am an observational guy that will react to things. But I can't help not being quick to, jump the gun a bit. And I understand you're right, by the way. I just feel like with a point deduction looming over our heads, we cannot afford. This is why I talk about how long do we give Cooper. I'm not saying get him out now, but I still think we need to have a realistic cutoff, because if it gets to 6 or 7 games, we haven't won a game. What do we do?
Yeah, I think that there has to be a limit. Maybe it is around 6 or 7 games. Uh, you have to be honest. We know that those points are gonna get taken off this season, probably later on in the season. And you have to think about it. A loss right now, maybe at the naked eye, doesn't seem that bad, but if you really think about it, it has 2 or 3 times the weight, because those could be the 3 points that keep us up or keep us down at the end of the season, or a couple points just by losing. So yeah, I think you probably it is a good idea. Maybe what Jeff said with 10 games is a good idea. But like I said, if we don't win, you know, anytime soon, probably around by October, I think, or late October or mid October, I think you have to consider it. In my opinion, I don't think that we could go into November and obviously December and then the Christmas break and Boxing Day and all that stuff with Cooper as a coach if he can't literally make us win. I think that's a huge thing that we have to realize. These games matter. We can't just keep drawing every game. We have to win these games.
100% we have to win these games. You're spot on, by the way, mate. Every point counts, but it is early days. I spot on agree with you. I think 6 to 10 games, reassess the situation then. Mate, I know you want to talk. I've heard you talk about this privately in our chat. Talk to me at areas that you want to strengthen. I know what your first answer is going to be, and tell me what positions you want to see, because the window's closing soon. We've got Tranmere coming up. We'll see a lot of the youngsters play then, hopefully. Maybe Cannon, and then expect possibly players to go out and loan after that or sold. So tell me, though, in what positions do you still think we need to strengthen before this window closes?
Okay, I think the first one, and I think it's the main one, the striker. You need a striker. There's no way that we could stay like this and not have a real striker in this team. IU clearly is a hybrid of like a striker with in a winger. You need a pure 9. Like I don't know how much we could just continue seeing this as not having a striker who can finish off chances. I think we obviously were linked to Fotis Ioannidis and as of recent, I think David Dacho Fofana, Broja, who I'm not sure if his deal to Fulham to Ipswich fell off.
Collapsed. Yeah.
Yeah. So collapsed. That's a good chance. You could probably bring him in on loan with an option or even with obligation to buy. Same thing with Dacho Fofana. So I think that you have to bring in a striker. There's no way that with probably less than 5 or 6 days in the transfer window that you don't bring in a striker. You need a striker. I also think that second, I would say, in my opinion, I think the fullback. Like we said, I think Christensen isn't good enough to, I think, start specific games. I think, like I said, he's more of a wing back. He likes to attack more, and obviously not having that defensive presence in a fullback is not good. I think that you saw that. I think he would get bullied by many other wingers in the Prem. I think that you need someone that's a little bit more balanced when it comes to in that fullback position, who could defend well, but also could probably attack in a decent way as well. I would want a more defensive fullback, in my opinion. And I think the last one, and I think that's interchangeable with the fullback on what you would say in terms of priority, is the 10. I think you need a player that's obviously gonna come in and obviously replace Faco when he's not feeling okay. I think that he's a great player. I think, especially me, I've advocated for him for even before he came in, and I think people were obviously not really giving good opinions, obviously just based off of stats. But I think we clearly know that he's a good player now, what he's going to offer to us after 2 games. But, if he gets tired, I think you need someone that's going to come in there and be a natural 10. You need it. You can't have Ndidi, like you said, playing in different positions when he's clearly he's a normal CDM. He's always been that, and that's what he came into to play at when he came here at Leicester. I don't think he was supposed to be a center mid that was supposed to be box to box. He's not ready for that. Maybe a couple of years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, maybe that's a possibility. But we're not living in the past now. We're living in 2024. We're living in the present, and he's clearly not good enough to be a box to box or even that 10 if a makeshift a 10. So yeah, definitely a center attacking midfielder.
Center attacking midfielder, I'm with you. I knew you were going to bring up the left back, and because you said you want a new left back, and that's what scares me a little bit because you want a more defensive one. Christensen is quite attacking, and that's where he gets caught undone sometimes, and that's what worries me with him. And we're not playing Pereira, but if we were to play Pereira and JJ, like I want, we have got Victor as cover, but I don't think Pereira is going to want to stay on the bench, mate. And that's another thing to be alarmed about as well. So if he decides he wants to go and says, listen, this is ridiculous, which I wouldn't blame him for. Like, I think he should have been captain this season. I think we need now cover for him because he is cover, which is a good cover to have, but it's better than Victor Christensen, in my opinion. And a 10 is good comedy from Sean. But okay, I'm going to try to pronounce this. Bilal El Kunis needs to get through the door. He looks like a gem, mate. I would love to see him come through, but I'm sick of getting my hopes up about players coming in and falling through. Like, I so badly wanted Sule, O'Reilly. Every man and his dog's been linked to us this season, and we've got none of them. We've got Akoli, Ayu, and Reed, and we're giving people stupid contracts as well, which is another thing that just the board's just completely, I've lost faith in them. We talked about this earlier, but Bobby Reed cannot start over Steffi. I am going to be so fucking triggered if I see the next starting 11 against Villa, which I'm bricking it about, by the way, and then Steffi's not in. Like, I don't get it. Like, I just don't see. I know it's only been 2 games, but like, I've got 2 games of watching Bobby Reed, and I've got a season of watching Mavididi light people on fire, and I just don't see why he's not in. But whatever. Managers have favourites. I think so, mate. I think there's a huge level difference. Like the creativity, also like the time of the ball, like that dinked past Ndidi in that last game against Tottenham. As soon as Mavididi came on, was sexy. Like, that was someone else that might have gone in. Mate, any other closing thoughts you want to add, Diego? Are you nervous about Aston Villa like me?
Oh goodness, I don't even know what to tell you about that game. I know, I think we all saw what they did against Arsenal. They look great. I obviously they lost against Arsenal, but that's because they're title contenders. I think in a perfect world, I think this is the 3rd time that they're going after a title. Arsenal, obviously, that doesn't have to do anything with Leicester, but I think it's destined for them to obviously win the title, in my opinion. So I think Villa to come up in that situation, to face a team that hypothetically should be able to win the title, and I think give them a great game, and obviously lose because of a couple mishaps. I mean, that's completely different to the Spurs or the Fulham that we played in these past 2 weeks. So I mean, yes, I'm extremely worried. I don't know what's gonna happen, especially if we don't bring in the right signings. I think we're gonna struggle immensely, and I think that's gonna be a game where I think the Cooper outs are gonna be starting to be heard if we obviously get dominated completely. But I think obviously, I mean, let's hope we have literally
sacrifice. I could say I'm sorry. It's gonna be long. It's your like if we get sacrificed and pumped anything more than 4-0, definitely I can see it get toxic because that's going to be at the KP as well. So.
Oh goodness, no.
Yeah, so that things to look forward to. But it'd be still Leicester like fighting to score a hat trick against Villa, and it would be amazing. My son, a Forest fan, is concerned under Cooper, Leicester will finish above Forest. Time and possible points deduction may well be decisive. I can't see us finishing higher than Forest at this point, but it's only been 2 games. Let's just hold out. With my blue tinted firmly stuck on my head, I'm predicting Leicester 2-win Aston Villa. I love it, mate. Optimistic. I always predict the win as well. And actually, no, I don't. Actually, I predict the big loss for the Tottenham. But yeah, in my heart, I do. But Diego, thanks heaps for coming on. I agree. You made some really good points, mate. I am a bit worried. I think Villa are a good side. They've had some tough games though lately. They lost to Dortmund. They lost to Arsenal, but they played decent in my opinion, and they beat West Ham. So they've done some really good signings. There's been a lot of money. Let's just wait and see, but let's hope we get some players in the door, not dinosaurs that are players that teams don't want anymore. And like, I would love that. Sean, 6-0 Villa.
Oh gosh, please no.
Come on, man. You're only going to kill my vibe, bro. It's not that bad, surely not. I still think there is some positives though to take fair. All the slack I've given Cooper and like the negativity, I do think that like it's not as bad as I expected to be after preseason, but still, there is things to work with. But I would like to see some changes. What was your Spurs prediction against Leicester? It might have. That's confidential, Jeff. All right, we're going to try beer grass. Guys, thank you for tuning in. I'm really sorry for the lack of content lately. Like as I said, please get over to For Fox's Sake. Anil's channel is absolutely brilliant. I've been involved a lot in that. I may be concentrating more on that more in the future. That's a conversation I have later. But as of now, please get over there. He's done a lot for my channel. He's, in my opinion, by far the best for the analysis breakdown. He's nowhere near as ADHD all over the place as me. And I can't recommend his channel enough. So please get over there. I'll add it to the title after I've done filming this. And then, guys, please get over there and like and subscribe. Last comment before I wrap this up. I pissed off Villa that wants to be ambitious, plus us making too many mistakes. Sean, I hope you're jinxing them because that would be an excellent thing for us. Thank you very much. But yeah, maybe we're going to tank them now. But look, guys, thank you again for tuning in. Please subscribe to For Fox's Sake TV. Everyone give a shout out in the comments to Diego. Thank you so much for joining us again. You're a legend, lad. Good to have you over here. He's a great fan from over in the United States of America. And yeah, have a good one, guys. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll talk to you soon.